Science meets soul. What does it mean for you? Science, as we know it, is lots of research, studies. Scientists do this every day to find out what is happening in our cosmos, what is happening in the physical body, and what is happening with the mind. So when we look at science, we know it is there to support us, to give us facts, figures, and numbers. And for some of us, we may say that science is not enough. Soul. The soul is who you are. There's a soul in every human living being. And there is also this energy all around us, the energy around you, the energy you have within, and how you perceive the world around you is all part of your energy. If you are a positive person, you will have this oozing vibration, this energy that people love and people are attracted to. And you magnetize people to you. And the soul is doing all of this. If the soul is uplifted, the soul is doing all of this. Whereas if there's a person who was not as positive or oozing this great vibrational frequency, the energy will be lower and flatter, where less people will gravitate towards, or those who are on the same frequency will be in the same collective field. Whereas the positive vibrational people, the higher vibrational people, will always have more or less the high vibrating frequency people around them. So we can see the two opposites of this, the positive and the negative frequencies. The more you attract towards you, the more happiness and joy your body system feels, and emotionally and mentally. Whereas people who are in the lower frequencies could be having anxiety, stresses, and traumas and depression, and they will go through a different experience altogether. So I wanted to talk to you about science meets the soul, because many of us may want to be understanding how science is so good for us. Science gives us facts and figures and numbers. It does research, whereas the soul side of us may be more philosophical, more emotional, more inquiring into how things work, but not necessarily through the medical way or the scientific way. So can you see the difference here? How the soul and science could be two separate things, but how can we bring them together and how can we merge them? So after my 20 years of working in this field, and I have my own opinions and my own theories and my own studies and my own understandings, even through the way that I operate and how I can see other people operating. Looking at some human behavior, for example, looking at how people respond, for example, and how people are different on different vibrational frequencies. This has been my work for 20 years. And as I have been looking into this, even through my own illness, I know what works scientifically and soulfully. And do you know what? If I could share this with you, they can merge. If we allow them to, they can merge and they can sit besides each other. This could work. But often, because the scientific world is so scientific based, if they cannot see the evidence of something, they will not accept this, the soulful side of things, as much. They may just see this is your emotion, or you're just happy, or you're not so happy in the way you're living and being and how your body's responding to things. Does that make sense? Okay, so what happens here is, in my field of work, I've seen how this can work scientifically, medically, and so forth. But I know there's also a gap between the two. There's a gap here. And that gap I've been trying to bridge for a long time. Then it came to a point where I thought, okay, so science is so stuck on just science. Maybe I just need to carry on with my work and just help people. I know the help that we give people is enough. It works. Because we're now looking at the emotional side of us, the mental side of us. What's the anxiety? What's the stress? What's the trauma? And what is the root cause? When we look at this from a soulful level, as well as probably a little bit on the scientific side, we can see that neuroscience fits in quite closely together and we can bridge the gap. Now, If a person is medically, on a scientific point of view, really, really sick, what would be given to them usually? Testing, x-rays, maybe blood tests and medication. Now, if somebody is really, really sick on this side, they may have had the tests, the blood tests, the x-rays, and the medical and scientific research, let's just say. But still, there's something missing because there's no answers for this person. So this particular soul, this human being, is still struggling with their health. Why? Because something is missing here, where the scientific medical world cannot find the answers to this sick person, okay, or the person who's not so well. So what happens here is this person is left in limbo state with no answers, possibly, doesn't know where to go next, puts up with the condition that they're in, and possibly their emotional and mental state deteriorates. Does that make sense? So what happens here? Usually, the medical scientific side may even give them just medication to say, here we go, take these painkillers, take these antidepressants, or take these anti-anxiety tablets, whatever it may be, here we go. That will just help to calm something down. But in fact, what's happening here is science is missing the point here. We're not going to the root cause of what this soul is going through. This soul is struggling, this soul is suffering, and this soul is feeling left out or maybe even abandoned. What do we do here? So my work of 20 years has been hoping to bridge this gap. But when I know what worked for me when the answers weren't clear, this formula, AOT, helped the body system to recover really quite quickly. Instead of having 20 or 40 years of disability, recovering in 2 years. That was being able to walk again, to breathe properly again, to put weight back on again, breathe, talk, eat, and sleep. Okay, so this is what happened here with AOT. What happens also here with AOT is your recovery is much, much quicker. So, for example, in my research and in my theories and in my case studies, I have seen people who have had colds and flus who would hear scientifically would be taking some flu medication, for example. This one doesn't necessarily take flu medication, for example, but this one has AOT instead. This person will recover within 1 to 2 days to 3 days. This person will still be probably not so well for 5, 7, or even 12 days. Okay, so this is what can happen. There's a difference here. So we know AOT works quickly, efficiently, and works to the root cause. As you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, but yet I've been studying this AOT formula, what saved my life, what's got me healthy and well, and I've been working with people for 20 years with this, knowing this information. Because AOT, as the founder, as the innovator of this, it was given to me, and I have been working with this for people for a very long time. Anybody with anxiety, stress, and trauma, this will work with. People with illnesses, sicknesses, diseases, this will work with. People who are going through upsets, relationship problems, and work-life balance problems, this will work with. So you may be asking the question, science meets the soul, why is this working and why are people being put on medication or being held back for a very long time until the right answers come to them and then possible medication, operations, or whatever it may be? Now, this is a wholesome, holistic approach. We are looking at every angle of the person, the mind, body, and the spirit and the soul, whichever way you want to call this, because each one of us here listening to this and watching this has a soul. Without that, we wouldn't be alive, by the way, whether scientists believe this or not. Without that, we would not be alive. This is ancient, thoughts and philosophies and real ancient stuff that we're talking about here. Okay, studies, you can call it as well, philosophies, even if you want to call it that. It's human existence is the soul. So if we look after this and nurture this, we will have less of uncertainties. If we look after the mind, body, and the soul of the person who this is, we will have less illness and sickness. So we do prevention, we do longevity of life, and we look at how science and soul can come together, but we've got to find the missing gap, which is what we have, which is the AOT formula. Then people can get on with their life and do the best they can, live as long as they possibly can, the body will allow them, but we always nip it in the bud. We always go into the action of nipping it in the bud first. So the soul needs nurturing first, and then science can still do its work. It's fine. We can hold hands even. There's nothing wrong with that. Science can meet the soul if we allow it to. Now, in this work, we are looking at longevity of life to help people live longer and healthily. So we're looking at the powerful side of both the science and the soul. The science, the medical, and the soul, and the holistical. Okay, let's just call it that. And we're looking at how we can nurture this, but we can maybe nurture this too. We're looking at the human existence in both of these. You know, we don't want to push anything too far away, but we want to say that there can be a bridge that can be gapped. We're looking at the emotional beliefs here. We're looking at the more statistical beliefs here, probably. We're looking at the consciousness on this level. We're probably looking at how we can keep people healthy and well through medication, let's just say. Okay. But in both aspects, there is knowledge available. There is knowledge available to both aspects of this. And we're looking at how we can discover and we can inform people that these are experiences from a scientific point of view, a medical point of view, but also look at this. We are looking at the experiences from an individual person's point of view. When they are saying they're feeling 2 out of 10, they're not feeling great, we can get them at 2, 4, or even 6 out of 10. We can raise that number doubled again and again. And this is what we've seen in our case studies. And we go by the individual person telling us how they feel. It's their body that's going through this. And they know what's happening to their body system, how ill they feel, how well they feel. And that's when we know this is working. And when they say, I have no pain still, I'm doing well, and I'm getting on with life, that's amazing. So we can look at this. Okay. So I'm going to share a story with you. So I had a lady in her 70s who had trouble walking. Her foot was swollen. Her daughter's crying out for help after she's been into the hospital, sent home with medication. She didn't get the answer she wanted, and she didn't get the real help that she thought she was going to get. Now, we're not saying the NHS is a bad place to be. It's not. It does its good job. Okay. But what happened here is we were called to hand. We went over, and I specifically myself gave the sessions. When I gave the sessions, in the second session, the woman could move her foot. She could stand on it better. And this was all in a 7 to 10 day period this was done in. And in that time frame, she had one session, next session, next session. And after each session, she was feeling like she didn't need to walk with a walking stick. She was doing chores around the house, and she could walk better. Now, this lady had rheumatoid arthritis, and it was so inflamed, so I believe, and even the medication wouldn't touch the pain and wouldn't take the swelling down. As soon as we started working with her, the pain was lessened and the swelling went down. The family couldn't believe how quick she was able to walk again, and off she went doing her normal daily duties in her 70th, sort of a 70 plus age group. So can you see the proof here of what the soul is wanting and how the holistical side of working on each part? When we say holistic, I'm looking at how I'm looking at with the body system. I'm looking at the organs. We're looking at how the body is working. We're going to the root cause of the problem. This is what I mean by holistical. And then we're looking at how we're fixing the person. And when we do that cycle, we are getting the results we should be getting. And this is what we are known for at Soul to Soul Wellbeing. So when we look at wellness, this is just it. Can you see now how important this is? So science can meet the soul, and the soul can meet the science, and we can work hand in hand, and we can work together as well. It's about what the individuals want. So instead of going for long waiting queues, thinking, is this going to work for me? Is this going to work for me? We are here to support your journey, and let's do this together. So are you ready to take the action is the next question. If you're ready to take the action, please contact me. I'm Parveen Smith. You'll find me on Instagram. You'll find me on Facebook. You'll find me on LinkedIn. And you will also find me on all social medias and on my website. So my website is also Parveen Smith Training, and that's for corporate training. That's also for corporate wellness and also for public speaking. Then we have Soul to Soul Wellbeing website, which can help you with your body system, the aches, the pains, the imbalances, where we can help you to rejuvenate you and give you longevity of life. And that's all from me. My name is Parveen Smith. I am a global awardee with global awards for the well-being that we've been given to humanity for 20 years. And I will now say that take care of yourselves. Never leave it too long. Never leave it too late. We hear this all the time. If only, if only, if only. And the power is in your own hands. Say yes to yourself. Your health is not a luxury. Your health is something that you should be looking at every single day. And your health is not even expensive because you will live longer and longer and longer without the imbalances and without the long-term illnesses. So put your health first and see how you go from there and enjoy what the world has to offer you. Take care for now. Don't forget, you can message here below, you can contact us, you can find us on the website, and we will help you. Bye for now.